We're going to scribble our way through the evening. So thank you for coming. My name is Cynthia Miller, and I'm a member of POG, and I'm also the circus master for this gallery, which has been in existence since May. This is 326 Gallery. We're trying to get local fine artists to show as much work as possible and get it into your homes. So that's the goal. This is the last day of this very lovely show, I must say. It's called New Nature. Not that nature is new, but we're thinking about it differently. And if you got an announcement about it, it has this wonderful little presentation that Thich Nhat Hanh did, the Buddhist monk from Plum Village. I'm just going to read it to you because it is so beautiful. Okay. He stands there and he holds up a piece of paper and he says, let me get my goggles, he doesn't say that. If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper are. That's Thich Nhat Hanh. If you have not looked into his writings, please do. It'll make you so happy. Anyway, so, a little woo-woo, but, we need that. The future we're getting, we kind of need that. I just want to thank you for coming. This is wonderful. We never have this problem about chairs, but it's a fun problem to have. Thank you very much for doing that. And this reading is very important to us, and 3 wonderful women poets that come through here once in a great while. Well, not Jami, you're here all the time, but everybody else is... Well, not really.
I know.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
You never really left.
No, that's true.
Anyway, it's a rare occasion, and thank you for helping us celebrate this reading together. The next reading will be Derek Sheffield with Lisa Martin, who's also on the POG board, and their guest, Simmons. Simmons Bunton. Okay. And that will be at the Wave Archive down on Toole, John's Joint. So that's 7 p.m. on not till February 15th. Good possibility that Chax Press will be doing some kind of a reading or poet presentation in the gallery sometime in January. So, you won't starve for poetry. We don't want you to do that. Okay. If you haven't gotten...
Sam Ace.
Pardon me?
Oh, yeah, Sam Ace, we don't have that on the schedule.
It's not on your...
Because it was set up...
But I think that would be January 18th. Those of you who know Sam Ace will be delighted to know he's coming and reading from his news on January 18th.
January 18th, Wave Archive, yes. Sam Ace, terrific poet, wonderful human being. Okay, almost a cloud. All right. So anyway, if you don't have one of these schedules and you would like one, please sign up for our mailing list and we'll make sure you get one because this will give you the rest of the spring schedule. I'm supposed to thank the Arizona Commission on the Arts for keeping us together, and the U of A Poetry Center, which often helps us out, the English department at the U of A, which also helps us out. Thank you, John and Johanna. And all of you really who have to have poetry, because if you don't have to have, we can't do this. So if you've given your $2 at the door or whatever, you've got all your money, we want all your money, or if you have some extra laying around, please do. It pays for cheese and more fun, and so we can bring more writers here. Of course, we're on ancestral land, so it was very hard to understand that when you have to drive through Park Place, right, all the way out here to the middle of Wilmot Road, which when I moved here in 1963, they just paved it. This was the east side. We are the Middle East now, but we can't call ourselves that. That has a not so great connotation right now. So, any case, there's not a lot of art things happening on this end of town, so we're trying to kick it up. So thank you for finding us, because someday we won't have to write all those things about the girls' estate sale on 14th Street, and because the address is completely fucked, right? So anyway, there you go. So thank you very much for coming, and if you can look at the way the Oodam and the Yaqui have lived in this part of the world. Go to Mission Gardens, they'll explain it to you in very clear terms in terms of vegetables and trees. We can live like they lived and make this better for all of us. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Can everybody hear me? Yes. Oh, wonderful. So yeah, thank you all for being here. It is my very great pleasure to have the chance to combine an introduction for you to the work of the first two poets tonight, Jami Macarty and Valerie Witte, with a sincere thank you from me for the opportunity of reading alongside both of them in Vancouver last month. It was a surreal experience, I will tell you, to make my way through the streets of Vancouver on the morning of November 7th. The results of the recent U.S. presidential election were not quite, and still not quite, fully absorbed. And then over the next couple of days, I spent talking with Jami and Valerie, among other things, about the material and potential of poetry, how it allows both experiment and excavation, uncovering truths that are at once personal and shared. It's always a wonderful way to get to know someone reading their work, and even more having them read it to you, diving into questions like, how can we structure language within the field of the page to create poetic forms that illustrate and enhance these interconnections? How can our individual experiences, along with research across a range of disciplines such as history, anthropology, natural science, and feminism, give shape to ideas and images, drawing out deeper meanings while bringing these bodies of text fully into being? These are our discussion questions that brought us in our panel discussion to life. As well as having dinner together, and also a little randomly with one of my old high school friends who helped us steer the conversation in any number of other directions. So these are all really good ways to get to know anyone. But given the context and unfamiliar city, becoming a little too familiar context, all of us still reeling from recent events, I will say that it is an incredible way to get to know two very unique and special people. So that meant a lot to me to be able to share that time with you, read with you, and now it's just such a great honor and pleasure to welcome you to Tucson, and to be able to share your work again with all of you here tonight. So first up tonight, we'll hear from Val. So when I first met Val, I was immediately struck and delighted by the range of her interests and the diversity of her past and present projects. As you'll see in just a moment, her work explores the intersections not only between different ideas, histories, and embodied contexts, but also between language and other media, including visual art, music, and technology. Her work is often collaborative, extending itself through, and to offer just a few examples, projects related to origami flower folding, reclaiming language used to restrict women's rights, and recently the work of postmodern dancers. So along with Sarah Rosenthal, who we're incredibly lucky to also have with us here tonight, she's been involved in a deep exploration of the work of dancer choreographers Simone Forti and Yvonne Rayner. The first part of the project, The Grass is Greener When the Sun is Yellow, was published in 2019, and an essay collection by Val and Sarah, One Thing Follows Another, is forthcoming, or is...
Soon.
So, okay.
Spring, I think.
Okay.
2025.
Is forthcoming in spring 2025. So we'll be waiting for that. So the interdisciplinary nature of this work is something that her previous work shares and invites. Chicago-based artist Jennifer York produced artist books based on a manuscript of Val's Flood Diary from 2014, and an installation based on her more recent Rupture in the Interiors from 2023. So these collaborative works were exhibited in Berkeley and Chicago, and also led to a residency in France. Valerie's innovative and collaborative approach is also evident in her work as a founding member of the Bay Area Correspondence School. Through this project, she exchanged mail art, spearheaded the writing of a collaborative Facebook poem about the war on women, and helped coordinate multiple events, most notably the BACS
Bacchus, whatever.
Bacchus Variety Show and Art Extravaganza in 2017. Val has also been a member of the feminist press, Kelsey Street Press, and is currently a member of Airlie Press, a Pacific Northwest-based poetry collective. Her latest book is an almost literally visceral investigation into the limits and possibilities of categories including self and other, material and immaterial, inside and out. I say almost literal because the book is concerned with skin, to such an extent that Gillian Connolly writes that, quote, "The wonder of this book is how it makes one feel as though one is holding not page, not book, but the fine texture of skin itself. Skin is more superficial, more external than the viscera. It is, quote, skin, sheath, and projection. Valerie's exploration in this particular book and others is anything but superficial. We're very lucky to have us here, have her with us here tonight. Thank you. Please welcome Val.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's so meaningful. And thank you all for being here. Is it possible to dim the lights for a little bit more, or no, for the first presentation?
Richard, if you'll get that switch right behind you, we'll just be in the dark.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, POG, and everyone for having us. She began by moving her head in a pattern. Insect blue, cochineal, carmine or crimson couldn't fend off crushing, black or amorphous, forming crusts. The way she smiled made it difficult to die. White, then red, last a bluish black, in order of tenderness, opacity. If tinted, a window, what's another word for hole in the head? An ancient eye grinds indigo, a lower concentration, blushing. She tried moderating her heartbeat, until counting prohibited the double's die, uruku, derived from the seed of a deep orange fruit, modulates the size of eyes. So as Johanna kind of referred to, this book is about issues around skin and hair, and the way that it originated was I had a dream years ago that I wrote a book called Silk Yard, and so when I woke up I decided to write that book. So I bought a book about silk, and I had a book about the anthropology and evolution of human skin, and I extracted language and ideas from both of those texts, and then I interwove my own experiences and memories around these kind of minor physical traumas that we all experience, just part of being human. And so in the poems, they're all structured this way, and there's these italicized lines that run throughout, and it's kind of this loose narrative of a female figure's experience with these kind of traumas.
Oops.
I think we had a technical issue there. One moment. hold that thought. Did it become unplugged?
I don't think so.
There's still power to it. I don't know why it turned off.
Hold, please.
Did this,
I'm trying to put a light on. Sorry.
It's at least consumable.
is this loose?
No. The power is to the machine. The machine is just not working. It's
When
possible it'll-
red, you
Did I
have to press
set
the
one?
button again to get the green
All
power.
right, let's try it. Seems to want to still be with us.
There we go.
Thank you, Charles.
All right. Well, anyway, I'll just carry on now. So anyway, the book is divided into 9 chapters, and so I'm just kind of reading a spattering of different poems that occur throughout the book. Let me see if I can get it. Made in sand, ash, or mud, we are clay, sheets assembled, a recruitment of parts volcanic, a rupture in the interiors, splintered repeatedly, the invention of skin. As the body brought her edges steady, allowances given. For artillery, a cartridge, ribbons for tires. And she proved ideal for parachutes, performed well in surgery. Where sutures join lips of a wound stitched, one of the fastenings at the junction of two, immovable articulations, skull itself in sewing. Lipids permeate gaps of agile grasping, demands and feet. When she questioned the usefulness of farming, a mesher made apertures, expanding 9 times. Too close to the heat, source first, birds, a bewilderment, process called reckoning, a sheet known as lap. This could go anywhere. We are bodies of evidence, a cadaver's skin found frozen in a glacier. To recover from shedding, she discovered a wall of pungent herbs. Impressions made in minerals disturbed, where winters pass dormant, the physical record is sparse. A root ground to powder, why were things so difficult to swallow? Eaten by warblers or washed away, rain, then 2 opposing, Klein's conceal armor, external evolution of feathers. Fleece flower, the blood cleaned cold. And the female, bigger still, without a mouth, does not feed, but draws, for draping, fabrics, belts, repel a moth, mugwort, babies by rocking. A cigar waved carefully as if rolling could alleviate. Absence extinguished before contact, but once it was dropped and singed her. To make a strong skeleton, reestablish the laminar, forestalling breakdown theoretically. She was starting to disappear herself. A thing used to represent erasure when subverting anatomy, the crest between nipple and lip suspended a mesh of muscle as arteries, enable locomotion, flagella to swim, an elaborate network reduced to backbones. A draft of air so often betrayed her. What whiskers are to cats. A reminder what a scalp could stand in for. Little holes hold eyes set close, as most will answer. Overlook our forests, the impossibility of trees. Engineered for mastication, a tangled mass. Had she tired of light therapy? Colonies cut from the filling machine, 6 legs in the shape of a rib cage, roving. She wanted to be regenerated, flanked by 5 bunches tied, as a thorax is a chamber in which such fruits are situated. Innovative, swading, a nap raised, please. A brick of steam between pegs, expelling outermost, slivers clamped, a membrane. When dilated, a vessel more triangular, and she called it spring. The invention of skin, a preliminary sorting when, what lies dormant, recalling the loss between. Opening was a simple mouth. When the baby, calm throughout, falls deeply center to poles. To prevent tangling 2 or more together, reeling. The lower jaw slack as sleep immediately transmits signals across cheeks, forehead, and ears. Iridescent finishes are fingers and lips of primates most tactile, a ring to help find our footing, lineage hastened smuggling of eggs from the wild. These threads would not unravel easily. Peach skin washed in a tumbler in which pumice stones are addled. If she were composed only of pinks and other plans, her luminescent cones. Live skins, blistered, shrinkage, sometimes reversible, readily creating voids. A spinal cord interlaced, shears swagged. A way of hanging waist, the white of lead and parts of pallor. Yet she tried lightning at least once a day. As seen from the front or back, printed both sides, fossilized. What we attempt when wet, exploited by machines. We are almost human anyway. An organism misused is a tool of deception. What seemed safe then, only fabrication. To substitute sculptural behavior in the matrix of the bowl. If she could unravel as one continuous thread. Taught to withstand exposure, a barrel of water doesn't split, but resists wind and also dust from accumulating, spongy, the susceptible pliability. Too much sunlight. A poor conductor of electricity, a scented body is a nursery for manipulation, twisting, other shaping techniques, plaster, casting. And she dreamt the way such winged creatures weave, although she had lost her ability to fly. In caves, a womb inside can break down the dampening to safeguard reservoirs of intermittent hues. When we are transformed clawless out of water, also red, garments are tents of deprivation by means of leaves or lungs, ventilation lost. Any organ unusable at times, decayed could resemble bellows. I thought life was boring. I thought I was boring, despite glades or swamps disrupted. But it was just my hair. The flesh of evergreens fallen to feed and harvest a handful. In the southern hemisphere, our pigmentation richer. But then I dyed it, and I feel so much better. Hair is everything. Reassembly. And I'm gonna stop there. Thank you.
So Jami is someone I've had the pleasure to know for many years now, as we're very grateful that she is a regular, or as regular as geography permits, attendee at POG events. And over the years, I was happily aware that we had some things in common, including moving between two worlds, one north and one south of the border. Since having the chance to read and talk with her in formal and informal settings last month, I'm even happier to find that we share a whole lot more. And I think that this can most easily, even if a little abstractly, be summed up by the titular figure of the first section heading of the whole catastrophe. We share an interest in the empty parenthetical, or what it suggests or holds, and the poem title that follows, allowing for betweens. This movement and attention to what, rather than being a space of emptiness, is connective and fluid between apparently discrete ideas and entities, is evident throughout both Jami's poetry and her prose. For her, as I think you'll experience tonight, poetry is not just a genre, but a way of seeing, of being, of listening, and of moving, asking questions, actively thinking and responding, and also of forming community. She asks us to look again, to look closer, to see the way that our stories, our bodies, both human and non-human, are intertwined. Language in the whole catastrophe and other works becomes a way of tracking and of sharing these connections. From her first chapbook published in 2017, Landscape of the Witte, to her latest, The Whole Catastrophe, published this year by Valerie, Jami celebrates the intimacy and possibility of genuine address and response within human relationships and the natural world. Her work discovers and celebrates the in-between, overturning the boundaries we ordinarily presume between personal, social, cultural, and environmental factors and experiences of our daily lives. Jami's poetry has been published widely in literary journals including ARC, the Capilano Review, Event, and Vallum magazine. She has received the support from arts entities including Arizona Commission on the Arts, BAMF, the BC Arts Council, and BC Arts Council, among other arts entities. And as the executive director of the Tucson Poetry Festival for nearly a decade and editor of the online poetry magazine The Maynard, she has also returned that support to countless poets. The Minuses, Jami's first full-length poetry collection, which came out in 2020, won the 2020 New Mexico-Arizona Book Award, and her forthcoming book, The Long Now That Conditions Permit, was selected as the winner of the 2023 Test Site Poetry Series Prize. Yay! It is a pleasure and an honor to welcome Jami Macarty tonight to read to one of her hometown crowds. We're delighted to have you here, Jami.
Hi, I'm gonna take a picture of you all because you're all so beautiful. And yeah, when do I get to do this? Hi, everybody. Hi. Better get on my glasses. I'm happy to be with you. Hi, Kelsey. Hi. Good to see you. Hi. So I'm gonna read a couple of poems from Landscape of the Witte. Start there, read a couple of poems from The Minuses, and then read something from Whole Catastrophe. One more sip of water. So we'll have lights on for a bit, and then once we get to the Whole Catastrophe, we'll have lights off. Okay, so first a couple of poems from Landscape of the Witte, and these poems were written in honor of my nephew William and are always read in honor of him. Alteration. Did you know when you woke, this is the day you'd swerve to miss the rogue semi-tire, finding yourself against gravity and logic ejected from your rolling car. More pressure in your skull than what? I don't know. You don't know. Do you? Did you? For weeks, there's been the presence of something bad's going to happen. Then we craze in the what-ifs. If only that 90-minute medevac unnecessary. That belt clicked into the air of your catapult goes my mind to inhabit with you that alteration in the membranous fabric. Here where we are, where we wait, we have our reason to wait and our wish to do something ably, to act, that brand of action that will allow us to meet again and again and again at a Swayze Park family picnic. Our world inside yours, let us separate the inversion of your car from you. Suspended in your healing sleep, let us be in your dream. What is a day like this? A waste? Would we call it that? What worth will be conferred? Future in the then. which may not or is.
Jami, could you speak just a little louder?
Sure. Sure. I'll try. I'll turn my body a bit. If only, what if? Is that, yeah? Okay, good. If only you hit snooze. What if mid-leaving you slow to feed your fish? If only 1,000th of a second. What if 1,000,000,000th of a second? If only the car keys slipped between seats. What if the car's battery needed a jump start? If only you had drawn the safety belt. What if you lived closer to work? If only you took the back way. What if, approaching the toll booth, you pull over to search for change? If only you're radio operative. What if the iPod had yet to be invented? If only the semi-driver called in sick. What if he stopped for gas? If only inspected, the truck red flagged. What if tire bolts fully tightened? If only having to dislodge, the tire halted in the median. What if neither you nor the truck driver traveled the fast lane? If only you slowed mid-air, life dialoguing with meaning. What if, dear passengers, we're just in a bit of a holding pattern? If only tiny chapters of breathing on your own between ventilator. If only a swallow, if only a blink, if only a reflex. What if fragmented warning for a start of lower expectations? What if another spontaneous fraying into our survivor's guilt? If only instruction explained trauma to the frontal lobe. If only possible recovery scenarios. If only no caveats with extended footnotes. If only attentive to randomness, exception. If no matter the unlocking, day can become road scarring. If no one deserves this, certainly not you. Okay. So cars, let's come to the desert. Actually, maybe not quite yet. No. This is called Equals Rain. We stand on the dead. The trees' November hearts skip beats, havoc groundward. How is this done? The garden and the broom, the shovel and the grave. Bumper coupled to bumper, cars make a grief train. No matter how many times the sky rives, no month is any worse than another. Simultaneity makes sense only as an image repeating. Rows and rows of corn, headstones. One can be dead and a guardian. The rain inevitable, as if sky plus death equals rain. In the plain, there's advancement, but no one has anything to say about it. We pace the aisle of what happened to the sky, our heads and the windows, variant ovals. One grace, incarnadined dawn, even though its color pollution derived. One can be blind and a watchman. Regardless the plain's westerly direction, on the inside, backward to the east. The past increases within the present. Invisible elsewhere, brown leaves blanket the oblivious, dissolving body. This day and night, from now on, each day and night, his arms unmuscular. Okay, and one more from the minuses. It's called Logic of Opposites. You'll recognize, those of you from the desert, you'll recognize some flora. Logic of Opposites. Palo Verde's blossoms, tiny brassy trumpets play to the ground jaundiced chords. Under fraction of crooking stamens, remnancy, limestone strata. Asphalt accelerates the day shift toward rainbows, double blues. Logical sky, curve-billed thrasher, airplane, sun glinting an underscore. Fear rabbit approaches butterfly chair. The mechanical infuses the natural. Nature does nothing in vain. Helping nature is harming. We admire a beach-found dolphin skull, but not tuna hunting. The daisy asserting upward in the crack of paving slabs, prehistoric cliff dwellings, but not looting. Weddings, but not funerals. One without the other, though, unfeasible as piano's flats without sharps. Isolation's invention. Any ruin song taken far enough includes its contraries. Genius may be the willingness to compromise, otherwise no room for us to put our feet on the floor each morning, to make our music, to live. Okay. I'll read from this latest chapbook. So first chapbook, Landscape of the Way, Williams' book, and then the minuses, and now this most recent chapbook called The Whole Catastrophe.
Lights off?
Not quite yet, I think. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, I think so now. Thank you. Hopefully I can see. Give me, if my voice drops, please give me thumbs up. So if I don't know, I probably won't be able to see you though. Let's see.
Sorry, we can't turn the projector up, I tried.
Yeah, it's okay. If I think if I'm here, I can be fine. And let's hopefully, let me have one more sip of water and then let's get it going. Okay. This is for she who took her leave in all four directions, allowing for betweens.
A little bit louder.
So we're playing Golden State, Corn State, Corn State, Silver State, our state plate name game. Whatever state we are, each other's passengers. Whatever state we are, as driven, as drawn. She took her leave and went ahead. I pretend I know where we're going. From draw to bosque, a common crane is flying. By December sun, stars' rotation around Polaris, air's scent, Earth's geomagnetic field, as driven, as drawn. I'm pretending I know where we are going, driving through miles of thousands of cows' lowing, soaked breaths. Who would want to listen? Who would want to get used to the smell? Windows up, an asterisk, annotating omission. We are omitted from fresh air. Cows from their cowness, by urban light, birds from their migratory course. My knee socks loving friend from her aliveness. Though someone else cut down the juniper, later in the room at the inn we burn the conifers' wood for heat. You flick the car's heaters off, fan off. Now the woman on the news says, another woman has just been. Urban light, carbon monoxide poisoning, wielding an axe, more than one way. Cows remain in feedlots for less than 6 months. Plastic remains on our dinner plates, forever flows in our circular economy, in our blood's closed loop. Who are they who kiss at the table of the threat of extinction? Among sandhill cranes, a solo common crane. Differing black and white head pattern, but we don't know that yet. there are but 4 possible ways to cause irreversible loss of brainstem function. If the possibility of withstanding, then I want to withstand her absence, to live as she lived, a life entire, as risen, as dawn, as given, as gone. The complicity and the doubt I lug from the past that suggests withdrawn from you, the world. Maybe to know the present, to survive, to continue, requires a wave hello to whatever grief arrives, and dare hope there is a future arising under copper catapulting stars. Of the 4 ways she's suffered chemical toxin, oxygen starvation, physical damage, but not high temperature. She was cold, pressing the pilot on the camping heater, turning the key in the ignition. We are never very far from an explosion. If this a hopeless action of paper, I'm not going to say asterisks hamper the world, but I call for page as range. The cows that are here, let them roam no longer public lands, because open range state overgrazing, because feedlots runoff. On private land, cows can wander free, crush their calves and yell full udders from milking parlors. If I celebrate by doing, by driving to the wildlife refuge to honor her, by writing on this page, later by taking a lavender bath, lighting a fire, then I am one of Earth's bombs. A contrail's insult, our airplane flight, has already scarred the sky. Asterix, heraldic star, there is more information about everything. The industry devours cleanly, not a hoof left over. Carbon monoxide poisoning, colorless, odorless. She could not tell the tasteless gas surrounded her. A common crane airs its 8-foot wingspan from the copper state to the land of enchantment, but we don't know that yet. Whatever state we are, as driven, as drawn, in my coffee with almond milk, the eyes of a cow standing in her feces and urine. For a stretch of our legs, to switch drivers, a rest stop. You twist the copper bracelet on your left wrist, cure for inflammation, as given, as gone. We are each other's passenger. A plastic tumbler rolls the ramp on its side. You merge. We talk, so we're not alone with our thoughts. We say we want to haunt hallowed land, not drive a road through beef-finishing feedlots, summit a mountain without a telescope on it. Do we not owe our planet's moon more darkness? Do we not owe ourselves more darkness? Migrating birds, their celestial navigation. Developments polluting light. Cattle productions bloat. Polymer materials manufacture. Copper load extraction. A quid pro quo, loosening a notch in the executive's belt. The ungrateful music of the spur on the border of difficult to trust. In the river, keep your mouth closed, because feedlots runoff. Unlimited growth increases the divide, graffitied above the downtown door. But who reads anymore? Asterix, little star, you call out a footnote. You temper an explicative. Hello? How do we live here a life which we give back afterward? Window glass cool to my temple, trees running by in a Muybridge sequence. Hello, trees. Birds unable to perceive glass barriers strike. We stop driving for the night, but it is day, and there's a shoes and socks off lawn, cool grass every step. Hello, grass. Then the thought, every step through the grass, I kill something. But, oh, to be that grass, the wind bends back into its recent past without breakage. After a bath, how the fire calls me to trance, to look in the ashes provisioned in both my hands, no division between residue and the skin on my fingertips, between embers and my thoughts, nothing to reject and nothing to cling to, neither revision nor petition, the cranes soaring in the dark vaulted open. The way land and animals mistreated, a premonition of the degradation, the domination of women. But my darlings, I'm in love with earth, black earth, red earth. That's why reused glass jars line the sill and cuttings make basil my fingers and hands, the conjugal scent of which we are the same molecular velocity. We began as earth began as stars. We are stars. In my life, I've come to know basil affinities tomato, and devotion is neither intermediary screen nor window. I've come to abandon the screens, the windows, but keep my first wish for provision beyond, as driven, as drawn, as risen in pre-dawn, we witness the all-at-once first light, thrill lift, ribbon of geese, and sandhill cranes. We witness the all-at-once first light, thrill lift, ribbon of geese and cranes. Afterward, to take part in life in the morning, I follow the headings like honeycombing bees. Roam a tributary, ascend mountains' deer-worn trail, a small exhaust growing inside my cheeks. You come too, as striven, as strong, where animals in motion, moving to remove, we climb to loosen claims. A headwind roughs my lead, like forgetting, then remembering she took her leave. We offer our leg muscles to the mountain, our offering breaths, some ashes to the wind. Our view rivers out over a wide arroyo flecked with gold, silver, copper. Then we learn the slope down. Hello, slope. The ascent made, unmade, remade, descent. Stars, earth, the crane sews us together, the world allowing for betweens, betweens that brought me she who took her leave in all four directions, who now speaks cinders, revenants of flame. I know who she is, evidence of her life, one in 100,000 water birds and more, much more, but quick, before enumeration becomes the story. The universe took her back. December already gaining a few seconds more light. She is Asterix. She was Asterix. The not-so-common crane distinguished by a red crown patch and low back bustle, overwintering at Bosque dell'Apache. In the land of enchantment, cranes hear corn singing. Hello, corn. Pulled down by corn, the cranes adjust their wings, a plastic milk bottle under a bird's foot. We go on, you, me, and our recognized other, motivated by punishment and reward, as shriven as shorn. Doubt's inner voice, a sentence. Oh, dark my heart pulled about mind's mulishness. Hello, doubt. Death, a word marked by an asterisk. Her death, untested, impossible. Ash to wind, as given as gone. Hello, grief. By the year 2050, plastic will outweigh ocean fish. 26 years times 34 million cows slaughtered by then. The whole world wheezing because phthalate esters, because methane and ammonia. Hello, how we live here. Hello, guilt. Hello, grief. No doubt about it, it is hard to select the present moment if it is indeed selected as written, as song. Hello, present moment. Relief of, I no longer have to pretend I know where I'm going, as driven, as drawn. But please let us imagine fewer cars and no new roads. Let us walk and then read together, you and I, while the stars are spread about the sky. We are who kiss at the table of the threat of extinction. Come or not, I am prepared to roam alone, life in through the nose. I will keep what I have taken from this green earth. The not so common crane, as given, as gone, as riven, as mourn. Little star, you are an asterisk, annotating someone missing, parentheses, vacant. In the black matter, moon's icy sickle, the stars seen by birds, the stars birds follow. Thank you.
I'm Charles Alexander, and I'm one of those POG people you hear about.
So much about.
Yeah, I don't know what you hear about them.
Only good things.
Excuse me. And I'm introducing Sarah Rosenthal, who's here from San Francisco. I have so little to say about what's the facts about you, Sarah. I have other things to say, so I hope this is okay. Oh, and with me. Okay. Study the other. Ask the librarian to carry it. All the words in this poem rebel. Okay, rebel with the poem, rebel against the poem, rebel against what we make of poems, what we make of ourselves, against our human resistance to the animal universe, and to the other. Sarah Rosenthal is a rebel. She's also a gatherer, a joiner, a studier of possibilities that are decidedly other. I want to say something about poetry and poetic context here. Sarah Rosenthal emerges, and that process never ends, we're all always emerging, out of a nexus of poets that are exploring possibilities of meaning, language, the space of language, the space of self, and more. Kathleen Fraser was one of the centralities of that nexus, that vortex, and Fraser's work became, in her last couple of decades, increasingly visual, as though we must use all of our senses, all of our probing studies to make what we need to make. We need to draw the lizard. The lizard is one of Sarah's books. I don't know if maybe people grabbed them. Okay. We need to draw the lizard, eat the lizard, become the lizard. Many of Fraser's and later Rosenthal's colleagues, including Myung-Mi Kim, Bev Dahl, and Frances Jaffer, Susan Gewirtz, and on, with a movement that first emerged in the late 70s and 1980s, and is still going. These poets, more recent ones like Sarah Rosenthal, are doing necessary work, quote, on the primacy of reinventing language structures, and sometimes visual structures, as in Rosenthal's Estelle, meaning star, in order to catch one's own at oddness with the presumed superiority of the central mainstream vision. Fraser wrote about a movement that I still see as active. What were young women poets to do? Understanding clearly the rules of the game and how we must submit our language to the scrutiny of those in power. What if we carried in us the seeds of a rebellion that didn't want to follow the leader? What if we wanted to write unhampered by group worship of whatever aesthetic theory was in current vogue? To cross boundaries and give voice to impurities involving shifting grounds of feeling and intellect. Sarah Rosenthal has continued to be such a boundary crosser, to be such a rebellious questioner, to operate only with the rules of the poem underhand, the mind in the act of creation. In Estelle, meaning star, she crosses the borders between verbal and visual information, carrying in that crossing the dying dead, handfuls of dust, the fragile grieve, the torn fragments of our words and pages, the word star, the Estelle star, the meaning star, as we begin to perform the long trek out. Let's trek with her. Please welcome Sarah Rosenthal.
Let's stop there. Let's all go eat. So poetic. Charles is such an amazing poet, and he just spins out these amazing webs of language, and I'm so honored. So many people to thank. Charles, Cynthia, where are you? Cynthia. POG people, so fun to meet you. Johanna, thanks for your beautiful introduction of these amazing poets. It's such a privilege to read with both of you, and thanks to this incredible audience. So, I'm going to read from Estelle Meaning Star, which came out of, it's a collage. It's little tiny pieces of, tiny little pieces of paper glued together. I went through a bout with cancer, as so many people do, breast cancer, and couldn't really do much during it, but I did make a commitment to write my crazy chemo dreams down, and promised myself that I would do something to recuperate or something. I don't know. I don't really write about healing in a direct way, but I wanted to make something out of that. And so when I felt better, I had been doing some residencies with a bunch of artists, and the best thing about residencies as a poet is that I get to be around a bunch of visual artists, because you go on these walks to their studios and they're telling you about their process, and you're seeing it, and then you see it a week later, and it's just so visceral. We're here. So I wanted to make something, and so that's why this took this form. I wanted to be happy to be in a body that felt better making something and pretend like I was a visual artist. So I'm going to read a bit from this and then a bit from my earlier Jack's book, Lizard. Let's see. Cradling abandoned animals, the women walk along Pacific Rim. Sometimes they pause, rend shawls, bandage limbs. The women whisper solace to the dying dead, proceed slow-stepping along the rim. This isn't quite working for me. Stay in the mood, stay in the mood. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take it from the top. Cradling abandoned animals, the women walk along Pacific Rim.
Sometimes they pause, rend shawls, bandage limbs. The women whisper solace to the dying dead, proceed slow stepping along the rim. I should say that I didn't, these are not replications of my dreams. This is very collaged. Making their way to the far edge, they carry the dying dead. Some crouch, grab handfuls of dust, rub onto their own skin. Making their way to sea edge, the women carry the fragile, grieve. Some adjust parasols, shade animals from sunburnt delirium. In measured step, they walk the narrow ledge, hold their stricken charges, drip water onto parched tongues. They carry mangled animals to the far edge, put the creatures to rest. The women place the broken at sea edge, stroke till waves lap the bones away. Can you hear me in the back? Institute a thank you, log a line, didn't exude the proper excitement as I ambled to jot down example before the bell attitude stank 100 times. Order stops kids wandering through hallways, looks deep into eyes, and they look up, what does she want? Pants and skirts, young and still tied to nature, spiral, root, not sit upright, assignment, settle down. Make sure this set functions, nothing broken or jagged, classroom well outfitted, page well ruled, students appropriately face the teacher. Dumb. Can't see the book from here. Dumb, unplanned, out of control, unapproved, work to do, for punishment, mounds of, reading, make sense, make sense. Spiral, spring, out of, body of, water, sparkling, breeze, spacious, space, and. My name is Estelle, I turn on my center. I'm trying to rotate against a glassy black. Assume can be done with others. Assume discussion is simple, meaning Estelle dots the night, and every name does. Does speech freeze? Does mistake imply trauma? Is the situation playable? How to appear among what's heard? Does it, I've heard its meaning, I say, try at least, variations, celestial bodies constellate, in firmament, confer. Try the word star, provisionally she, who, all of us, confer in the night sky. Estelle meaning star. I'm going to stop there with that. And then, what's the name of the artist who did this beautiful cover?
Joyce Saylor.
So, more visual art happening. Thank you so much, Cynthia and Charles, for making that connection happen. So perfect. I had no idea. I told Charles I just whatever you're going to do with the cover, I know it'll be perfect. You're amazing. You and Cynthia are such a team. Just do it. And I could never have predicted what you came up with, and it is absolutely perfect.
We can't predict it either.
I know, that's the beauty, that's the power. So this is my first book, which features work by Cynthia. It's called Lizard, and we were so fortunate to find out that Cynthia just happened to have some amazing lizard paintings. And my heart went pitter-pat. So this was a number of years ago now, and this one came out of teaching adjunct at San Francisco State. I was teaching an undergrad creative writing class, and it was multi-genre, and it was a big class, and I put a poem in the I know it was an epistolary class, actually. It was an epistolary class, but across all different genres. And I put a poem in there, untitled, I think, but it was about a lizard. And this lizard was very abstract, and yet had a lot of charisma. Somehow both. And this really amped up these 30 undergraduates. Man, they divided into camps. They were fighting about whether this poem was the suckiest piece of dirt on the face of the planet or the best thing they had ever read. They were going at it. And when you see a bunch of 18-year-olds really going at it over a poem, you get really excited. So I think at some level, I just felt this energy that was in the room around this wacky poem, and I felt like I had to write the female lizard because it was a very male kind of charisma. So that's how this came to be. I also wrote it, I started it like right after my dad died, and he was I love my dad a lot, and he was a real authoritarian, and I think there was some way that some deep lizard part of me was kind of like, okay, coming out now. So I'm just going to read just the first 5 short poems from this. It's also very infused with a lot of science about lizards, and how-to manuals, how to have a lizard at home, all kinds of facts about lizards. Lizard means I don't speak your language. She means I don't share your brain. She learns with her scan, negotiates with tail and jaw. Her response is nuanced, but your grid trances her. Hunger saps, leash abrades. Your gaze a promise you can't keep. Sometimes she collaborates, sometimes self-propagates. Progeny, true replicas. Study any one of them. Each mirrors her cell, her breath, her fracture, her deliberate gait, her fracture line, her frictional adhesion, her prehistoric, her salivate, her scale. A bad translation has lizard cutting off her tail to spite her fate. But she grows a new one, steers with it, stores fat against the slim days. Replaceable parts help Elle stay cutting edge. She's working on her head. Only her belly is famously hers and can be stroked. She'll turn over. When danger's near, she pours her flesh into purchased beige, becomes a dish too ugly to taste. Out of harm's way, she sloughs pale cells. Radiance gazes out like a necklace everyone wears. She rests lightly, awaiting messengers, drifts off to wake famished, but feeding's a chore to a groggy girl. She sprawls in a cloud of bad breath, wanting to warm the day, warm to the day. Day isn't hers, it borrows. So I'm going to stop there, and then this triggered a film. So Val and I have been very involved with writing about dance for the last number of years, and exploring our own very personal relationships to dance, as well as the work of these very important choreographers, Yvonne Rayner and Simone Forti. So I am now going to show you my second of 2 dance poetry collaboratively made films. It's 6.5 minutes, and then we're done, and everybody can go eat and chat and do all that good stuff. emotional just because this was such a collaborative effort, and I just want to honor. Could you keep the lights off for a second? Lights off?
Lights off?
I just want to honor my collaborators here. Everybody worked really hard on this.
Beautiful dancers.
Yeah.
Terrific film.
Charles and Cynthia are
Okay,
in here.
Richard.
Woohoo!
To roll my own credits here for a moment. About a year ago, I think, Val and I had an idea that maybe we could read in Tucson, and I can't remember how Sarah got included, but anyway, she's here too. And so I put it to Charles and the folks at POG, and I'm just super grateful to Charles, Chax Press, Johanna, and all of the POG team for giving us space this evening, and to all of you for coming and lending your hearts and your ears to us. I'm super grateful to share this
Good
evening
reading.
with you. Thank you.